to talk to you guys about this. So when Josh asked me to speak, he's like, the thing that I hear the most from working with a lot of women entrepreneurs is just the struggle between that pole of being a mom and being a business owner and trying to do it all and how and what it looks like. And so that's what I get to talk to you guys about. And I'm going to, Jay Ring was making fun of me because when I sent him over, because he created the slides, we sent him the content and then he made them. I have like 1 million pictures because I was like, I'm going to be at the end of this conference. People are going to be super over it by the time I get on stage. And so I'm at least going to have pictures to keep you entertained. And so I'm going to take you guys on a little journey about just how it all got started, where I came from, hopefully so you guys can see like I'm totally a normal human, and if I can do this, you can do this, because that's how this is in any business that you're in. So this is my little family. I am a mom of 4, like they said. We've built a multi-7-figure business in the past 5 years. Insert business income disclaimer. And it's been like just, I don't know, super ups and downs. So many different seasons. I started when my oldest was 4, my second was 2. My husband he's a full-time vet now, but he was in vet school. We lived 18 hours away from family, and I'll get into this part, but it's been hard, right? So I know so many people are like, okay, well, the ones that have gotten it figured out, it's probably their circumstances are different, it's been an easier road, whatever. Everyone's journey is gonna have hard times, and so you just need to embrace them, and you need to figure out what's important to you and how you're gonna get through it. And so that's what we're gonna kind of discover today, okay? So this is where it all began. I was playing college volleyball at Wyoming. I had always been an athlete my whole life. I was a gymnast for 7 years, then I quit that because I started doing weird things like pulling out my eyelashes and getting all stressed, and I still pull out my eyelashes, so that's annoying. But it's stuck with me all this time. But I then just got into every other sport. My whole family was into sports, so I ended up playing college volleyball. That was always such a huge part of who I was. That was like my identity, was an athlete. I was always goal-driven, I was always hardworking, so it really built some characteristics in me that I feel like have transferred, obviously, into business life and motherhood and all those things. But I didn't understand who I really was until college, Josh, when I met this boy. So this was this is our first date, okay? So this is our first date. Okay, these are gonna go super fast, Josh, okay? Are you ready for this? All right, so met this boy, go. We dated for like 2 weeks. He took me up to the ranch to meet his family. We told him we were getting married. 3 months later, 1 month later we were engaged. 3 months later we were married. So then we went on a honeymoon to Lake Tahoe, and this is our room, you guys. I said my hubby did not complain about it. Like, what are these mirrors? So we got a timeshare from his grandma for our wedding gift, and we are like the most frugal human beings in the whole wide world. And so when we were on our honeymoon, first of all, it was a week after school. There was a week between Christmas and finals. This was the weekend before finals, but we like fit it in really quickly. And so we were in Lake Tahoe. We were supposed to be there for like 5 days. And then we ended up coming home early because we wouldn't pay the money to go see a movie or go ice skating or do any of these things because it was like $14 to see a movie. And I'm like, I'm not paying $14 to see a movie. And I'm not paying $22 to go ice skating. Like, we were that cheap and frugal on our honeymoon. I'm like, we need to like redo that. But anyways, so this was our funny honeymoon room. And then 7 months later, we were house sitting and we found out I was pregnant with our first. So then I became a baby mama. My husband was playing football, still in college. I was playing volleyball, but that obviously got cut short. So then we had our first baby, and all of my dreams at that point had come true. So in my life, the furthest I ever dreamt was, I want to become a mom. That's all I want. I don't ever want to work. I don't ever want a job. I had no vision past become a mom. And so when I was 20, we had our first baby. At that point, I had made it, right? And then we followed my husband to Florida. He got drafted by the Miami Dolphins to play football. So my daughter was 7 weeks old. We drove across the country, away from family. I was living the dream. I was a mom. My husband played in the NFL. It was really cool. We got to be his cheerleaders. And then motherhood was in full swing. And I just remember being like, we were in our little, literally like 700 square foot apartment, super proactive with my first. We don't do babies anytime with my fourth. But so she was watching that. She ended up falling asleep. And then I turned on HGTV and was watching that. And I'm like, this is my life. I just watch TV, play with my daughter. And then I kind of was like, what else do I get to do? Like, this is motherhood. And then you guys know, if you're a mom, like, you have really hard days and long days and days where they do a lot of this. And you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so worn down. Like, is this really who I am? And so I fell into that a little bit. And then I decided, keep going, Josh. Now we're gonna get into the lies, okay? So I'm gonna go into some lies that we tell ourselves. And a lot of these I've heard from a lot of my coaches as well. So some of these I struggled with, some of them I just have heard a lot, so I wanted to talk about them. So the first one is, anything outside of mom and wife duties will take away from my family. Have any of you guys felt like that? You felt like, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is my calling, this is my purpose. I want to be the best mom and wife I can be. I feel you. That's how I felt too. But then I realized I wasn't really being my best self if I didn't also have a little bit of a separate thing for me to fill my cup. So I decided at that point that I needed a hobby. So I got a camera, started taking pictures of my daughter, because as a mom you take like 8 gazillion pictures anyways. And I'm like, I'm gonna learn how to take really good pictures. I kind of fell in love with it. It was super fun. And I became a self-taught photographer. And so I built a wedding and senior photography business. It was going really well. Super successful, 3.5 years into it. I was doing workshops for other photographers. It was really good. I thought that was the dream job. I could do it when my husband was home at nighttime, so we kind of like switched. He would go to school all day, come home, I would like give him a high five out the door, I would go do my shoots, he would watch the kids. I'm like, this is cool, we can do our own schedule, like I don't have a boss, this is helping. And then I got into a challenge group and kind of fell in love with that whole process of taking care of myself. And that's when I really knew that was where my heart really, it just everything about it, just empowering women and just being on that journey was truly where I needed to spend my like other half of me. So I decided, it was only like 3 months into coaching that I decided I'm done with this. I started to get really annoyed with the fact that I had to edit all these shoots, and it was taking away time from not only family, but now time that I could be doing my coaching business. So 3 months in, I'm like, hey, this is it, I'm done. So I already had some weddings scheduled out that I had to finish, but at that point I kind of cut the cord and went all in with coaching. And so you can go to the next one. I, at that point, had found the gateway to create our best life. Not my best life, but for my family, that was how we were gonna create our best life. And when I saw the vision and when it got so clear, then all of the mom guilt of like, I can't do this because I need to be the best mom I can be, and da-da-da. I knew that if I was gonna do this, it helped me be a better mom. So those went hand in hand, and that's when I knew I could go all in with it. But it wasn't like sunshine and roses. So this is my husband's. He has two others that aren't in the picture, two younger ones. He's the second one. He's cute. But they grew up on a ranch. His mom is basically like, you know, Ree Drummond, the Pioneer Woman? Yep. His mom is like her. And so when I started coaching, and when I like really started putting time into this, my husband didn't really love it that much. He was like, why is the house dirtier? Why are you not cooking all these meals? Like my mom, like you're supposed to be like Pioneer Woman. Like that was his, just what he knew and kind of what he expected me to be. And I was like, no, that's not how I am, babe. And so there was some friction for a little while. And almost every single top leader that I've talked to, I don't think there's ever been like a frictionless journey. So just embrace the fact that when you're trying something new and when you're learning new things and you're incorporating new habits and new routines and there's gonna be some friction that you have to work through, and that's okay. And you'll be stronger when you get on the other end of it, okay? So that is her on the right. I just had some big shoes to fill. So it took a lot of communication on both of our ends. And the thing that I want you guys to understand is the importance of including your spouse in the journey. Because I can guarantee that the friction and the tension would have gone on a lot longer had I not started to involve him as soon as I did. So what I did was when I would get messages from like challengers or even coaches, pretty early on, I started getting messages from challengers like, oh my gosh, this is making such a difference in my life. For the first time ever, I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much, da-da-da. So I would show him, babe, like this is so cool. I get to be a part of people changing their life. I get to be a part of someone like doing something and proving to themselves that they're worth it. And I would include him in these little wins that I was feeling because those are the things that fueled me. And so helping him see, this is what fuels me. This is why I'm showing up. He got on board pretty quick. I took him to an event, and if you haven't taken your spouse to an event yet, you need to. He heard from Carl, he heard from corporate, he saw the bigger picture and the vision of what we get to do, and it became so much bigger than just, my wife is on her phone, in her Facebook group, whatever. Like it's hard to grasp sometimes, okay, what we can build. So helping them see the bigger picture early really helped him get on board, and that's super important. So, lie number 2 is I can't be both. So this is you can't be this, and I call it an and mom. I want to be an and mom. I want to be a mom and a wife, and I want to be a freaking awesome girl boss. And you can be both. But there's a huge limiting belief that you have to be an or mom. You can either be a really good, an or mom. You can either be a really good mom, or you can be a really good career person, business person, but you can't be both, and that's BS, okay? So, go to the next one. If you haven't read this book, get it and read it. And maybe read it like 3 different times, because as I was thinking about how I run my business, and I love the fact that so many speakers have taught just the simplicity of it. Keeping things simple, keeping things really basic, being a lazy hard worker. Like when Rachel said that, I'm like, dude, that's so me. I like do the least amount of work, but I go big on it, and I do it like all in, but it's the easy stuff, the stuff that actually moves your business forward. Okay, so, and when I was thinking about it, I reread this book since I read it at the beginning, and I'm like, dude, I got so many of my habits and how I run things from this book. So it's kind of just created a lot of how I do things in general, and it's a must for every entrepreneur, okay? So one of the things I wanted to share with you, it's after this, so don't worry about it yet. Hold on, Josh. If it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. Bottom line, if your business is important to you, you'll find a way to make it happen. And when I hear my coaches express the fact that like their husband doesn't support them or whatever. And these same coaches are the ones that really haven't done anything with their business in a long time, or like they're in and out and up and down. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't support you either. Like, I don't blame your husband for hating on the fact that you're not doing anything productive. So if you're here, you probably have big goals, you probably want to be productive, you want to make money doing it, you want to be successful. So make sure that you're being disciplined enough to be successful. And just like so many have said, the business doesn't play favorites. No business plays favorites. Josh mentioned the sowing and the reaping. Like, it's legit. If you put in the disciplined work, you will have success. So just be disciplined enough to know how to fit in the most essential things, okay? Lie number 3. I don't have time to do everything it takes to be successful as a mom in my business. I love that Megan talked, like her whole presentation was on this, because anyone can make time for it. But I wanted to share the fact that there are seasons. And Mel talked about she has to check herself. Am I in a season of push? Am I in a season of like balance? I hate that word because it's dumb, but a season of just kind of keeping things going, okay? There are seasons. So this is my laundry room. Clearly we were in the season of push when my laundry was built up. But there's always going to be times when, there was a time when my husband was in vet school, and like I was saying, the house was a little bit dirtier, like things were kind of getting put on the back burner, and it was a time when I'm like, hey, I can either work my business and do these essential things, or I can clean the house. And this stuff is going to give us the life we want. This stuff is just gonna make me feel better today. So this was more important than doing my business stuff. So you gotta kind of weigh those options, and you gotta give yourself some grace. I know as a mom, you're like, okay, but that's my role. I have to keep the house clean, I have to do this, I have to cook, I have to do this. And I just wanna say for a second, just because you were born with lady parts does not mean you are the only one that can clean and cook and do all of the woman things, okay? And I know some, like I'm lucky my husband is, like he stepped up. He was like, okay, I'll help with this, I'll help clean, I'll help do this. And then when we got to a certain point in my business, I was able to delegate that stuff. And I had a girl come in to do the cleaning. And now I have a nanny girl that comes in to do all the things I don't like to do, like laundry and cleaning and all of those things. So depending on what you love to do and what you don't, you can get to a point where you get to pick and choose. Like as a mom and as a wife, this stuff has to get done because it makes me feel like a good mom and wife, but it doesn't have to get done by me. So as long as it's getting done, then I feel like I'm a pretty awesome mom and wife and housekeeper, even if I'm not doing it, okay? So just understand there's gonna be phases of your business, just like anything, and you need to give yourself grace because we are our own worst critics. We're so hard on ourselves. I remember times when the house was messy, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm failing at this, my business isn't going where I want it to right now, like, what am I even doing right? But you just have to take a step back and understand you're doing the best you can today. And if you're not doing the best you can, then you can step it up, okay? So just like, well, is it Melissa spoke earlier? When she was saying self-leadership, dude, if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, that is the thing you have to master like yesterday. You have to be your own best accountability partner. You have to be your own best, like show up for yourself. Be disciplined to the goals that you set. Hold yourself to it. Don't make someone else hold your hand. I think that's the thing that I've learned the most is when I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. Because I told myself I would. And if you can get that to that mental place where you are showing up for you because you said you were going to, then you're not gonna have to play the game of, oh, I don't feel like doing this today, I don't feel like doing this today, because most days you're not gonna feel like doing the important stuff. Let's be real. But you're gonna do it anyway because you told yourself you would, okay? I love this quote. It's from the book that I was talking about. What if we stopped celebrating being busy as a measurement of importance? What if instead we celebrated how much time we had spent listening, pondering, meditating, and enjoying time with the most important people in our lives? So this depicts like part of my vision. So really early on, when I would think, what do I want my life to be like? How do I want to spend my days? It wasn't hustle bustle. I am like the biggest homebody. I could stay at my house and never go outside for like a week and be okay. Like, I'm a super introvert. It was slow paced. It was surrounded by the people I loved. It was playing cards at the dinner table. It was just staying up late chatting. Like, that to me, like, those are happy moments. And so having this clear vision of, I just want to be able to have time with the people I love, not feel like I'm stressed out all the time, not feel like I'm so frugal that I can't go ice skating on my friggin' honeymoon. Like, that stuff stressed me out. And so when I got clear on what made me happy and what brought me joy, it was so easy to work hard. So you have to get clear on what that is for you, because it's going to be different for everyone. And then next slide, you have to put your ego aside, your mom ego. It's okay to delegate, and that goes for mom stuff, that goes for business stuff. I love that Mel talked about getting an assistant like ASAP, because there's so many things that we need to do in our business, but doesn't have to be done by you. Someone else can do it. And if you only have an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever, there's things that other people can be doing that can still be driving your business forward, and you can put that time into your family and where you want, okay? This is another one that I loved. Essentialists see trade-offs as an inherent part of life, not as an inherently negative part of life. Instead of asking, what do I have to give up? They ask, what do I want to go big on? So that was huge for me. When you hear the word sacrifice, it gets a negative connotation. It's like, oh, I have to make sacrifices for my business to work. Well, yeah, you're creating your dream life. It's gonna be hard work. You're creating something that most people think about and dream about, but they never actually have. And you have a platform and an opportunity to actually make it happen. But it's not gonna be convenient, and it's not gonna just be handed to you. So you have to just embrace the suck sometimes. And you have to be like, gosh, this is a season of hustle. This is a season of grinding. This is a season of no Netflix, no hanging out with my girlfriends, no whatever it is that you're spending time on, no Pinterest, no, like, there has to be a time when you just give up those things that aren't moving you forward. And then you go big on the thing, which is your business, the thing that's creating everything that you want in life. You go big on it for however long it takes to make it happen. And then you get to live the rest of your life exactly how you want. Like, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Okay, next one. Oh, I love this picture. So, how clear is your vision? So I talked about this for a second, but this is so important, you guys. So if you haven't gotten like crystal clear on exactly how you want to spend your days, exactly who you want to surround yourself with, exactly what you want to do when you wake up in the morning, how you want to feel when you're going to sleep at night, the vacations you want to go on with your family, whatever that is, the freedom that you want to create, the time freedom, the funds that you want to have in the bank for your kids and for all the people you love, like whatever your vision is, if you haven't gotten so crystal clear, that's where you have to start. Because until you're clear on where you're going, you're not going to do the hard things it takes to get there. So that's what I want you guys to do as part of your homework on the way home when you're going through your 75 pages of notes like Josh was talking about. I want you to create a crystal clear vision with detail, like detailed, you guys, and include the emotion behind it. Just like when he was doing the hot seat and he starts to talk to you and then all of a sudden they start crying and that emotion is real and it's tender. That's what you have to capitalize on. Those are where you know that's like those moments when you're like, hey, this is why I'm doing it. You have to get clear on that. So for me, I kind of talked about it a little bit. Like, I just want all the things surrounding my family. I want to have a cabin at some point where we can go for the weekends and just spend so much time creating memories. We wanted a boat because I wanted to be able to trap my kids on a boat with us for 5 or 6 hours all the time, so they have to hang out with us. Like, I wanted the things that I want are all surrounded by family and the people that I love, and so those things got so clear that I was willing to work for them. The first thing that drove me to, and really lit a fire under my rear, was the fact that, so we were in vet school in Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, we were in Oklahoma. We were in Stillwater, so we were 18 hours away from family, like I was saying, and basically it came down to, we were in our 3rd year of school. I say ours, like I went to school, but I didn't. He was in his 3rd year, and we were kind of thinking about where do we want to move? What do we want to do? Where do we want to end up? And it was getting pretty clear that if we were going to rely on his income and do whatever, follow him wherever he needed to go for his career, we would probably end up in the Midwest, like Kansas or any of those states. That did not excite me at all. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, like all I've ever wanted was to live close to family. Like if you haven't gotten the memo, like that's important to me. And so the fact that we were gonna be kind of stuck in the Midwest because of money, I'm like, that's lame. I'm not that excited about that. So, subconsciously, I was like, there's not really anything I can do about this. It's my husband's career, everything, like, you just follow the husband wherever he goes. That's just how it is. And I was like, but there is something I can do. Because if I can get this going, and we don't have to really rely on his income, we can choose where we want to go. And it won't be a thing. And so my first big goal that I remember when I said out loud, I was like, oh my God, that was dumb. Like, that's never going to happen. But those limiting beliefs that are for real, I had them big time. I wanted to help my husband pay off his out-of-state student loans before he even graduated. And that was a lot. And it was ridiculous, like even saying that. But I was like, if we don't have that debt hanging over our head, we'll be at a position where hopefully we can actually choose where we want to go and we won't be tied down. And so, like, put my nose to the grindstone and we just did it. And we paid off his school loans before he even graduated, and guess what? When he was getting job offers, all of the best paying offers were in the Midwest. And then he had a few offers in the West where our family was, and we went, well, we don't really have to even rely on your income, so let's choose one of those. And it was like the most incredible feeling, knowing that everything was worth it at that point. Like all of the hustle, all of the work, all of the tension that we had to get through, like it was so worth it because we were creating the life that we wanted. And that was powerful. So I want you guys, this picture is from a trip we took this past summer. And this is my kids with some of my coaches' kids. They're like best friends now. And it's just like, this is everything to me. Like being able to include your kids on all of these incredible memories and adventures you get to take them on and the people they get to meet because of this. You have to think about those things because they are part of the journey just as much as you are. So make sure that you're including them. Okay, next. Line number 4. The time I'm taking away from my kids won't be worth it if I never reach my goals. So I actually asked my coaches, you guys, when it comes to like mom life and stuff, what are some things that hold you back? What do you feel like you struggle with? This was the biggest one. They were like, what if I put in all this time? What if I put in all this effort? What if I take away time from my kids because I want to create something for them, but then I never do? And I was like, well, that's legit, because that would suck. So I was like, so don't do that, number 1. But number 2, go to the next slide. I came across this and I loved it. Nothing is a waste of time if you use the experience wisely. So when I was thinking about that, with my coaches, and I asked them, I said, so if you say you never reach your goals, is that like income goals, like goals about, your journey? Like, what are those goals? What's success? Because success looks different for everyone. And lots of them, I said, if you weren't making money or you don't make your income goals, is it still worth it to show up every day for yourself? Is it still worth it to build these solid relationships? Is it still worth it to grow as a person and engulf yourself in personal growth in that journey? And it was like an underlying, yes, of course it is. But there's still that in the back of your head, but I also need it to work financially because that's what I'm doing this for. So just make sure along the way, maybe it's gonna take longer than you want. Mel said every single goal takes longer than you expect. It's true. It's gonna take longer than you want. But you have to celebrate those little things. You have to celebrate the fact that you're growing as a human, that you have really cool people in your life, that you're becoming a better version of you, that you're a better mom because you surround yourself with these people. All of those things are worth celebrating, and you need to take note because they're what will help you continue to show up when you're struggling with that limiting belief. Okay, next one. If you want to make good use of your time, you've got to know what's most important and then give it all you've got. So this is what I was talking about earlier. You have to just get so clear. If the business is important to you, you have to make it a priority somehow. You gotta wake up earlier, you gotta stay up later, you gotta sacrifice the things that I was saying earlier. Like, there's gotta be something that gives. And it's probably not gonna be something that you're taking from your kids. It's probably something that you're taking from your own free time or whatever. And I was thinking, as I was thinking back to the past 5.5 years since I've been doing this, I'm like, my kids haven't missed out on me. They haven't missed out on anything. Everything that I would have done with them, I've done with them. I just haven't maybe been able to hover over them like a helicopter mom and watch them build blocks because I was on a call or something like that. I'm like, that's not something they need. They can be independent children too. So I think sometimes we just set those expectations and then are way, way too hard on ourselves. Next one. This makes my heart happy. So I tell you to celebrate the little things. So this was when my daughter and I went and got pedicures for the first time. She was 4. I think it was right before I was going to an event, so I was getting my toes done. I'm like, Johnny, let's go. And I've included something that I was talking to one of my coaches about yesterday. I've included my kids on the journey from day one. So when we hit a goal in the business or whatever, we celebrate as a family. They know that mom does this for a reason. When I do well, they do well. And this was just one of those things, like just doing those fun things and incorporating your kids because of this. So instead of feeling like this is a reason why you're not being a good mom or whatever, this is a reason why I can take my daughter to get a pedicure when I used to be really cheap and I would have never done that in a million years. So just those little things. I was also thinking, I was talking to my husband, actually I'll talk about this with the next one. So go to the last slide. If I'm successful in my business, then I'm not being a good mom. So this is just that limiting belief of the either or, I can't be and, I can't be both. And so I was thinking about, you can go to the next one. Josh, go to the next one. Okay. So what is a good mom anyways? And I said, don't go to Pinterest to find out. Because I can promise you that society has painted this picture of like the Pinterest mom and doing all the crafts and doing these extravagant birthday parties and doing, like, how can anyone handle that in real life, okay? So I want you to get clear on what being a good mom is to you, because that's gonna be different for everyone. For me, my kids are loved. They know we love them. They're taken care of. They get to do fun activities. They're loved. That to me is being a good mom. When I get quality time with them, when they're positive influence at school because they have a foundation under their feet. Like, just get clear on what being a good mom even is and make sure you do that. And as long as you do that, then everything else you do aside from those things is okay, okay? Go to the next one. So ask yourself, and maybe write this one down, is this the very most important thing I should be doing with my time and resources right now? This is what took my business to Superstar 2. I got so freaking good at just doing the most important things right then. So if I needed to be filling a challenge group, I was doing the things that it took to fill a challenge group. If I needed to be recruiting, I was doing the things that it took to recruit. Like, you have to get so disciplined in your daily actions that whatever time you have to build your business and whatever time you have to work, it's the most important stuff. Then you can put your phone down, you can go to sleep knowing I did my crap, I took care of my kids, my family is doing awesome, we're good. And that's gonna look different for everyone. So that's why you have to get this is all a personal thing. What is a good mom? When do I feel my best? What does it take to grow my business? Like, you have to get clear on what your goals are, what your vision is, because I can't tell you what that looks like, because it's gonna be different for everyone. But asking yourself this and learning how to be that disciplined is going to help you move everything in your life to the next level, okay? So I talked about this, include your kids in your business goals. So when I look back at the past 5 years, we got to take them to the Dominican Republic on that Success Club trip. That was rad. They still talk about it like 2 years later. We went to Disney World. We paid off our home, so we're completely debt-free. Like, that's ridiculous. And we include them in those things. So I know that money used to be taboo. It was like, don't tell your kids how much you make. Don't tell them how much things are. Don't tell them this, da-da-da-da. Dude, our kids know how much we make. And is that weird? It's a little weird, but but we want them to understand, and we work really hard so we can do these things. So, like, taking them on trips, helping them have these experiences. When that picture of my grandma with my kids, like, she lives in Arizona, and she's one of my favorite humans in the whole world. And my kids know her because we've been able to take trips and make time to go see them and let them know who my family is, who lives far away. So you guys have to just cut the mom guilt out, because what you can provide your kids and what you can give them, because you work so hard and because you're so disciplined and because you're going all in with something that can ultimately change generations of people, you have to feel confident and know that you're doing it for the right reasons. One more thing that we've done that I think is really fun is around Christmas time, we like to sponsor a family, and we let the kids pick out things, or we go get gift cards or whatever, and we let the kids run it up to them, and it's always anonymous. But like, helping them see, because we work hard, we're able to give back, and we're able to do these things for people who are a little bit struggling, or maybe they're a little bit less fortunate. And our kids know mom works. When I go into my office, it's work time. And I think for the longest time, it was like, I used to talk about building it in the mom cracks and doing those things. And it was almost like I was trying to avoid the fact that I had a job, because my identity was mom. I'm mom. I don't want to ever have a job. I just want to be mom. So I'm just going to pretend I don't have a job, but I'm going to figure out how to make this work. That's when you're going to drive yourself legit crazy, because you can't do it all. And then you're going to have that guilt. And you're going to be like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this? When I started to finally get real about, I have a job. And just because I get to do it at home with you guys, and I get to be here all the time, and you see me talking to my coaches and talking to myself in my Insta stories and whatever, they know what I'm doing and why. I took my daughter to my leader retreat, and she sat in the circle when we were doing the note cards and telling everyone what we loved about them, and they were telling her what they loved about her, and she just felt, you could just see it. She was like, this is the coolest thing. Like, she just saw it at that moment, and she knew they were real humans who I was talking to. This was a real thing. Mom has a real job. She's seen me speak before, and that's the funniest thing, because to them, I'm still just mom, you know? And to have them see me at like events or whatever, when people are talking to me, they're like, why do they know you? That is weird, but it's funny. So you guys need to make this real for your kids. You need to include them. It's not separate. I love that Megan brought that up. This isn't separate from your life. It's not your job or your business and then your life. Like, they're so intertwined. And when you finally do intertwine them, when you intertwine motherhood with your business and your goals and your marriage and everything else, that's when you find harmony. Because there's going to be, when you work really hard in this, you get this in your life. And when you slack in this, things fall short in this area. So you guys just need to intertwine them. You need to give yourself grace. And you need to know that they are watching you. And when they see that mom works really, really hard so that I can have this type of life, and so that I can do these things, and so we can do these things together, you better believe that my daughter is going to go big places, because she knows that anything is possible. That if she works hard, she can achieve anything that she wants in life. And she sees us every single morning working out, and they come in and they join us, and that's just the normal thing. They're gonna carry those traits and those habits on. What you're doing is, you guys, like, what you're doing, and I said it earlier, you're not just affecting your child, you're affecting their children and their children and their children for generations. Like, that is legit. We get to change lives far beyond the grave, and that's pretty freaking cool. So, you can do hard things, and you can help your kids follow their dreams because you're following yours. So I'm giving you permission to go all in. For whatever you want your business to be, I'm giving you permission to be disciplined enough to do it, to make those sacrifices, to create the life you want, and then to be so freaking proud that you did it, and that you just create everything that you want for your kids, okay? All right, thanks guys.